Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, John Nye, and Josh All.
Hey, diehard Dogs, can you believe we are 2 preseason games into the NFL season? And that's right, it is week 3. And the Browns have a come from behind victory over the Jets, 21-16, and then a tight home loss against Commanders, 17-15. So it's Dawgs podcast time, and it is a Throwback Thursday with me, your host, Kenny Mack, El Presidente of the Ottawa Browns backers. And I had last week off because it was my birthday and I wanted to have a good time. But what you guys got to do is you got to check out the social, because me and the crew, the Dawgs podcast, had a blast at the Hall of Fame weekend. You can see the players that we met. So if you want to see these pictures, get on the social. Check out the Dawgs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. You guys know all the platforms, so just get after it and type Dawgs podcast in. Also, check out what they're doing on the website. It's www.thedawgspodcast.com. While you're there, leave a voicemail or an intro. Super simple. Type the website I just gave you, and you got to go up to the top left-hand corner, hit the send voicemail icon. Okay? Now, a window will pop up. In that window, you can type your email, your name, so we know who you are, where we can get a hold of you at. And then hit record, you're off to the races, and like I always say, if you don't like it, you can do it again. Super easy one for next week. Yo, Dawgs podcast, it's Kenny Mack. Saw the Eagles, didn't play well. They looked bad in the scrimmage against the Browns. Tell me what's up. Let's kick this off. There's an intro right there. Somebody can take that, stamp it, boom, there. Somebody else do an intro, it'd be great. So, guys, if you didn't catch it on Thursday, obviously the only choice last week was to do Joe Thomas. Usually I give you some feedback, some comments, but I think I did such a great job that left you guys speechless or typeless. There was no comments. So I know it's that time of year. There's travel, not a lot of social time. So when you get back from your vacation, your summer break, the patio, whatever it is, throw on some Dawgs podcast. Don't forget about me, Kenny Mack, some Throwback Thursdays. And in case you missed it, Josh and I went live after the Hall of Fame game and also did an episode with the guys pre the Commanders game. So there's a ton of stuff for you guys to watch. I'll let you know one of the biggest takeaways I had from the Hall of Fame game is just the coaches are doing enough with the bottom end talent to eke out wins, or at least stay in the game. I guess the downside of the game was the 2 turnovers, so a pick and a fumble. The missed field goals got to stop. Biggest reason for the win last week, though, I guess I'll say the Hall of Fame game, was DTR. He just had the ability to throw the ball down the field. He was the only one in that game that threw the ball down the field. Everybody else was dumping off to the running backs. Whereas basically made their 4th-string, better than the Jets' 4th-string defense. So that's why we won the game. I thought our defense, though, made people sit when they were tackling, which was great. It was my first Hall of Fame game, and it was a highlight moment for me. Tom Benson Stadium felt like a home game. Browns fans were getting after it. Man, and the roster balled out for Joe Thomas to get a win on this Hall of Fame weekend, so it was friggin' awesome. The entire weekend, like I said, it was a new experience for me. The guys, the Dawgs and I, we attended the Gold Jacket dinner. Thanks to the Browns, so appreciate the Browns. It's part of being a Browns backer. Lucky enough to meet Alex Mack. Also sat right next to, table-wise that is, Joe Haden. Best part, though, was seeing a selfless teammate, Joe Thomas, get his gold jacket. Next, during the induction ceremony, the next day, he totally rocked his speech. He did everything for his family, the teammates, and fans. And man, Joe, he could count on us, and he did everything in his power to play every snap. True professional that deserved every bit of recognition that he got. Went out for a couple beverages, though, after at the Brew Kettle, and we ran into the one and only Doug Deacon. Man, Deke loves to talk, and he always has a great story. Man, thanks for your time. He answered all our questions, too. Really some great former players from the Browns. My last day, I hit up training camp, met Josh Cribbs. He's a super awesome dude. And I was able to watch a bit of camp because it took about an hour to get his autograph and meet him. Some observations from that camp. So that would be August 6th, I believe. The Browns tackle. They get to the ball fast. They swarm. Even when they're only supposed to kind of hit, they look tough. That being said, Swartz dropped another ball. He just can't catch, and they got to put the guy out of his misery. They're doing him a disservice by keeping him playing. It's got to be hard on him. I also noticed, though, Watkins is ascending. He's catching them all, making some big highlights. He looks good. The other thing that I got to do is I got to stand next to the defensive line. I'm going to tell you, it's way different than last year. Zadarius Smith is a big dude. Tomlinson and Ika, our new rookie, those guys are bowling balls of human beings. Our run defense is going to be way, way better. The Commanders game, that was a little frustrating to watch after the second string came in. Third string was okay. Second string just did not look good, especially in the trenches. Kicking game, man, we need to sort that out. But Deshaun, he showed some great command on the O. It was super exciting to see him run at the right times, pass at the right times. And DTR, man, he is making a run to be the number 2 quarterback. So the starting D without Miles, the Warden, and Newsome, they look solid. It was a heck of the last 2 weeks. I'm pumped for the season.
And before we move on, real quick, Browns fans, here in Ohio, we have an unbeatable NFL preseason offer just for you from Caesars Sportsbook. New customers get their first bet insured up to $1,250 by using our code DAWGSFULL, all one word, when you sign up. Not only is your first bet completely insured, but you will also be directly supporting our podcast. And we appreciate that. So if you haven't already joined the Caesars Sportsbook community, now is the perfect time to make your move. Football is right around the corner. Real football. Just remember to enter our code DAWGSFULL during sign up and place that first bet. This offer is only available for new customers who are 21 years and older and physically present in Ohio. Please gamble responsibly. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Check the episode description for the full terms.
So the player that I'm going to do for Throwback Thursday, I did mention earlier, just didn't say that it was going to be the player this week. The player did get a picture with us all, so if you were watching the Haden, you know what I'm going to be talking about. It was going to be Joe Haden. And I was going to go in a bit of a different direction, but man, this guy gave us a ton of time while he was eating. He answered all our questions. Heck, he even accepted a hug from John. So he's a good dude, man. Thanks so much. And I'm going to tell you, I was lucky enough to be at a Bengals game last year on Monday night when he got to smash the guitar for all the fans and retire after his one-day contract with the Browns. Also, the previous night, I was at the Cavs game. I didn't even realize, but they honored him too. Because, I mean, he went to a ton of games, right? And so it's great seeing that guy get his due. Like Joe Thomas, though, he was one of the only rays of light that we could cheer for in some pretty lean years. And he really went through the merry-go-round of coaches. So, as you know, Joseph Walter Haden, he was a Gator. Played for 12 seasons in the NFL. Drafted by the Browns. Played 7 seasons, then a surprising cut, and a cost-cutting move, was immediately scooped up by the Steelers. We played 5 more seasons. Obviously, that was a dagger in our heart, knife in our back, whatever you want to term it. 2017 was already a pretty crappy year, and I'm sure some of you even probably burned his jersey, but as you know, he signed a one-day contract to retire to Browns, so I can tell you his jersey's back up in our Browns backers bar down at Mulligan's downtown in Ottawa here. So, where did it all start? He was born April 14th, 1989. He attended Friendly High School in Fort Washington, Maryland, and guess what he played? It was not corner. He played safety and quarterback, leading the team to a 14-0 record. And this was he won the championship in the MPSSA Class 3A Championship. Well, I'm trying to put all that together. So, listen to the record here. So, he set the Maryland record for passing yards for 7,371. He also tied the record for touchdown passes. Get this, he had 80. And what got him the most recognition was being named the MVP of the National Underclass Combine. So, funny story. Guess who else was there? Former Brown Tyrod Taylor. Isn't that crazy? He played in the All-American Offensive-Defensive Bowl because obviously he was great playing both ways. And funny enough, he was the number 3 athlete in the nation in 2007. So, who did he choose to go to school? Well, we know. He chose Florida, boo, over Ohio State, baby. O-H, say it. I-O, that's right. Unfortunately, we didn't get him. But biggest thing is, he started as a true freshman, playing for Urban Meyer. And I can't imagine what a wild team that was with Tebow, Aaron Hernandez. They had Carlos Dunlop. They had a pretty crazy team. Was a Major Wright, I think, was a safety. So I can only speculate what that was a crazy time down there. So in a move to help the team, he moved over to corner. And that's where he started. He was the first Gator to start an opening day game as a true freshman. And he finished the year with 63 tackles and an interception. This put him and got him recognized by the Sporting News, College Football News as an All-American. And he was also named All-Southeast Conference. That's right, SEC, baby. As a sophomore, he started 14 games, recording 87 tackles, had an interception, which went for 88 yards. And guess when that happened? Yeah, in the BCS Championship. The longest touchdown return in Gators history, and they win the championship. And no big deal. He throws in 10 tackles, 3 pass breakups on the day. I'm surprised it was an MVP, but you know that goes to the offensive guys all the time. In his junior year, which would be his last year, he had 86 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 3 quarterback sacks. He was the first team All-SEC. He was All-American and named National Defensive Player of the Year. What more could you want? I mean, obviously, it was time to go to the draft, right? So you know what's up next? Combine. The only thing I can say about the Combine is it was a little disappointing for him. He ran a 4.54 in the 40, and that really brought his stock down. But what came on March 17th, 2010 was Pro Day. He opted to rerun the 40, which not a lot of guys do anymore, but he got it down to a 4.34. Is also split time in the 10 and the 20. They're pretty standard. Like he's pretty good, pretty high up there, especially with some of the guys we've mentioned before, like Northcutt, Metcalf, 2.6 in the 20, 1.35 split in the 10, right? And NFL Draft Scout ranked him the number 1 corner prospect in the draft. He would measure in at 5'11", weigh 193 pounds, and bench 225 18 times. It's pretty impressive. So I got to mention, though, I love mentioning these draft classes, and this one had a ton of swag to it. The first pick overall was Sam Bradford, and he kicked around the league for years, but I wouldn't say he was an all-star. But check out the names after this. Ndamukong Suh, Gerald McCoy, Trent Williams, still kicking around, Eric Berry, Russell Okong, Joe Haden. Those were 6 of the first 7 draft picks. Later in the first round, you had Brandon Graham, Earl Thomas, Jason Pierre-Paul, Des Bryant, Demarius Thomas, and Devin McCourty. So his twin brother was probably in this as well. Then the Browns would go on to pick T.J. Ward in the second. And in the second and third rounds, you would have Rob Gronkowski, Golden Tate, Jimmy Graham, Geno Atkins. Not to mention, even later than that, you had Cam Chancellor and Antonio Brown. Eric Mangini needed a shutdown corner. He was in his second year. Cupboard was bare. So on April 22nd, around 9 o'clock, the Browns selected Joe Haden with the 7th overall pick.
This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Browns fans, Labor Day is right around the corner, and the experts at Omaha Steaks are inviting you to celebrate summer's last hurrah with 50% off site-wide during their Labor Day sale. Go to omahasteaks.com right now, enter code DAWGS, D-A-W-G-S, in the search bar to shop all of their exclusive Labor Day packages, like the Griller's Labor Day Feast. This package is the perfect sampling of everything that makes Omaha Steaks unforgettable. Plus, when you type code DAWGS in the search bar, you will get 8 free mouthwatering burgers and 8 free gourmet jumbo franks with your order. You're going to want to hurry because this exclusive offer is only available for a limited time. Celebrate those last remaining summer cookouts with 50% off site-wide during the Omaha Steaks Labor Day sale. Remember, the only way to get this amazing deal is to head over to omahasteaks.com, enter code DAWGS in the search bar, and get 8 free Omaha Steak burgers and 8 free gourmet jumbo franks with select packages, including that special Grillers Labor Day feast. Omaha Steaks isn't just steak, it is the best damn steak of your life. That's omahasteaks.com, keyword DAWGS in the search bar. See website for details.
The Browns kicked off the season, worked Haden in the lineup. It was against Tampa Bay with a 17-14 loss. He had 2 tackles and 2 pass deflections. He also, believe it or not, started the game as a kick returner. I don't think he did much of that, maybe the first 6 games that year. He made 2 tackles and picked off another later in the season against soon-to-be teammate Ben Roethlisberger. As the season progressed, though, he would improve and have a whale of a game against the Jets, notching 7 solo tackles and an interception of Mark Sanchez. The next game, he would grind out 3 tackles, 3 pass deflections, and an interception in a loss to the Jaguars. His rookie season, man, it was looking up. 64 tackles combined, 6 interceptions, forced fumble, and a sack, getting him on the all-rookie team in 2010. In 2011, on January 3rd, the Browns, in their merry-go-round that they call a head coaching vacancy, which they usually do, fired Eric Mangini, and they moved to Pat Shurmur. Ugh. The Browns would finish 5-11, and Haden, with new defensive coordinator Dick Jauron, he would finish the season with 65 tackles and 19 pass deflections and a sack. Man, 19 pass deflections, that's crazy. 2012 was another year with Pat Shurmur, 5-11 season, in which Haden would have a better year in 11 games only, though. He would get 51 combined tackles, 10 pass deflections, 3 interceptions. And if most of you don't remember, it was because on September 10th, 2012, received the 4-game suspension for testing positive for Adderall. That netted him a loss of $1.2 million, man. That is a ton. That's a lot of ducats. The merry-go-round the coaches would go around again, and this time, Rod Chudzinski, or Chud as we used to call him, would be the head coach. 2013 saw Haden respond well to new defensive coordinator Ray Horton. It was his first go-around with the Browns because, he was also the defensive coordinator with Hugh Jackson. He was selected to the Pro Bowl for the first time, and he made second-team All-Pro, 54 combined tackles, 20 pass deflections, 4 interceptions, and 1 would go to the house. The following year, in 2014, the Browns signed him to a $68 million contract. He would get his second Pro Bowl by finishing with a career-high 73 combined tackles, 20 pass deflections, 4 interceptions in 15 games. And the highlight, following his big game against the Texans, he had 5 tackles, 3 passes defense, and an interception against Matt Ryan. And how'd they do? 26-12 win. It was tough to find these in the Joe Haden years, I'm not going to lie. The following year, which would be Mike Pettine's, notice how I didn't say Mike actually started the 2014 season, but there was another coaching change. This would be his last year, like I mentioned. Getting tired of what would be a rough year, Haden had suffered through a groin injury, a concussion, and that would leave him only to play 5 games. So not much to say about that season other than 2016 was a new year, and he played 13 games. He got a lot of criticism started to roll up on him that he just couldn't finish out the year. And that kind of seems a norm now for most players. Like, love Denzel Ward, but he plays has to play 17 games now. So let's say he plays 15 games a year, 14 games a year. Sometimes they have 2 off, smaller dude. He would still get 3 interceptions, defend 11 passes, and get about 50 tackles. But the 2016 team, that was a rough year, we all know. And we know how the storybook goes. I already had mentioned it earlier. Haden was released by the Browns after 7 seasons. And it was reportedly, which this is what I didn't mention, they wanted him to reduce his salary from $11 to $7 million. This seems unreal to me because the Browns they were stripping the team to the bolts. So I can't understand why the salary had to be a thing. They had so much room. And he was a Cleveland guy. And, as fate would have it, one of our favorite players, he'd have to sign with the dark side. These people that think towel waving's cool. Pathetic. Joe would play 5 more seasons for the Squealers. He'd get 1 more Pro Bowl to his resume. Joe, man, he is a player that the Cleveland Browns missed on having a career-long holdover, just like Joe Haden or Joe Thomas. He finished his career playing 158 games, collecting 615 tackles, combining 3 sacks, 29 interceptions, and scoring 2 touchdowns. Also, not to mention 155 pass deflections. Not too bad for a guy that had 5 coaches in 7 years. And it was a killer way the team handled the exit, but, Joe stayed true to the land. He signed that 1-day contract, retired a Brown, and when healthy, Joe could hold his own against any receiver. And now, you see Joe, he's been on Unleashed. He's been doing some YouTube Hall of Fame bits. He was in that Pimpin' Your Ride series. Maybe the media will be his new thing, and if it's with the Browns, all us fans will treat you like, man, you're on the team. Well, that's it for my throwback portion, guys. So, Eagles game's coming up next. What do you guys want to see at the game this year? Eagles look good in the trenches. When I was there last year, they had some big boys. Their trenches were way bigger than ours. Based on what I said earlier, I don't think that's going to be a problem. We recruited our own big dudes to hold their own, and I'd expect the starters, after scrimmaging all week, that they're not going to play this game. I'd look for DTR to start. I already saw that today. I've already written this out. 2, all the second string to look better, like in the trenches, and we need to sort that kicker crap out. So thanks to the Dawgs podcast. Thanks to all of you. Hit the comment section on the video what your thoughts were. Snap a pic of your throwback pictures of Joe Haden, man. That'd be awesome. Take a look at this, what I had made for Joe Thomas. That's my Joe Thomas throwback right now. Snap a pic, throwback, jersey, tag us. I'll be at training camp on the 20th, so say hi and go Brownies.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.